RSL Nation! Hello.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. We're having some midweek vibes. It doesn't feel like hump day to you guys? No?
Oh
Today
my
feel like
gosh. I think Marcos is about to say it. Say it.
today feel like a Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What did it feel like to you,
Oh,
Alan?
I don't know. Just it felt like a Wednesday.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Like with
Today was just fine.
with the nice weather outside, I was like getting
Mm.
weekend vibes. I was like, it was so close, but it was just lying. It was lying to me.
Mm.
I was outside coaching soccer, so I was taking advantage of the weather. I don't know about you guys. And now the rest of the week is kind of like gonna go meh. I think I didn't check the weather, but from what I hear, it's this is the best day. Um, yeah, you guys, welcome. Thank you all of you for joining us. This is a another great episode. At least I hope.
Episode 99. So we are
Next week.
next week. So before we begin, obviously, if you guys are not already following us, we have a big giveaway that's coming right around the corner. We'll be
Bow,
dropping
bow,
it
bow, bow, bow.
We'll be dropping it this weekend. So tell your friends, tell anybody that wants to get this nice giveaway. So
Yeah.
Let me tell you exactly what we're giving.
whoa,
I
whoa,
can't believe it. Really?
whoa!
Uh,
Oh, and he,
And there's
wow.
more. Wow,
I can't believe it.
this is a
Yep.
fantastic.
I feel sorry for all our
So,
Spotify listeners. Um,
Yeah.
it's gonna be it's pretty big. In fact, it's pretty unique. I don't think I've seen a giveaway like this in other MLS podcasts, by the way. So, you want to get in on this. So make sure you tell your friends, and there might be some kind of aspect of you might be having to tag a friend or two. So, um, I'm gonna tag you, Christian. You're my friend.
Aw. I thought we
Okay.
were cousins.
That's well, okay. Anyways, tag your cousins. Um, so we're glad that you're here. We really appreciate you coming in, stopping by, and taking a listen to our opinions because, um, really,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people like to listen to our opinions because we have hot opinions, maybe controversial opinions.
I think our opinions are spicy enough that they contradict each other, so people are like, what is gonna happen next?
But seriously, I think we contradict ourselves a lot, and that makes it entertaining for us. I don't know about everyone else,
It
but
really does.
um, great. Glad everyone's here. Glad to see both of you. And by the way, another preface to this whole episode for all of you listeners, we haven't really spoken the past couple days, so
No.
everything you hear this episode is gonna be like legit. We're hearing it for the first time out of each other's mouth.
Facts,
Maybe,
It
facts.
really is.
yeah.
It really
So
is. Yeah.
so I don't know how I'm gonna react. So I'm gonna apologize ahead of time, Christian Marcos, if my reaction is a little harsh.
Give
Okay.
it. The harsher, the better in this episode.
Excellent. All right. So we are, as always, going to break this down as follows. We're going to talk about this last game. There's a lot of stuff I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't know about you guys. In fact, I think here, Marcos, I'm gonna throw you under the bus a little bit. He said, let's try not to spend so much time on this game, and I'm like, bro, do you not know how much stuff I have to say about this game? Yeah, yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
to be fair, Marcos and I got to react in real time at the game and also a bit in the post-game presser with with Pablo, who was we'll get there with Pablo, with the players, and also some of the wonderful staff at Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And
Woo.
so we got to experience all of that firsthand, but not Alan.
Nope. You're gonna hear my end of it right now. Cool. We'll then dive into a little bit of I think RSL didn't take advantage of some certain situations that happened. So I might dig into a little bit of youth development again. Sorry, guys. Then we're going to talk about the U.S. national team because that happened this past week. We can't let that slip by, especially with Luna getting some minutes. Not just some, 90 of them to be exact. And then we're just going to dive right into the game this next weekend against Minnesota. And then, as always, as we love to finish with your Instagram questions. So, Without further ado, um, Marcos, let's dive into this lineup. What did you think about this lineup that we had?
Interesting, odd,
You put it very nicely.
different. Um, obviously we were without no Luna, no Dominic. So two main starters without right off the bat. So what does Pablo do? Let's throw in both of our strikers. So Iago and Puyol get the start. Pablo Ruiz gets the start. Ojeda gets the start. Palacio, uh, Diogo to finish off that midfield. Backline, kind of a interesting taste with Quinton, Glad, Vera, and then Junqua to finish it off.
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm gonna let Christian give his thoughts real quick.
Um, well, first thing we do need to acknowledge that Emeka was I mean, he was left out of the lineup due to back spasms. Um, so that led to this interesting formation that I freaking called.
Yeah,
I
you did.
I
give kudos
called it. I
right right
freaking
at
called it.
right at Christian, right at kickoff. Christian was like 4-4-2, and I was like, "Yep, you right, Christian, you right."
I'm not a fan of this, by the way.
What,
You,
me getting things right?
no, I'm not a fan of that because I want to be right all the time. But this
Fair.
formation was not what not what I was expecting, and not what it was needed.
Given who we had available, it was the best that we had.
Really?
I think so.
I don't.
We couldn't run our normal formation without both Luna, Dominic, and Emeka. There's no way.
Yes, way. Watch this. I'm doing it right now.
Let's see it.
Leave the back four as is. Whatever. They live in their own world. All right. Here's your two is Palacio and Ojeda. Nothing wrong there. Your line of three is going to be Diogo, um, Lachlan, and heck, you could even throw a Wolf. Wolf on the left, Diogo in the middle, and Lachlan on the right. You can even throw in Pablo Ruiz in the middle as the 10. So it'd be Diogo, Ruiz, Lachlan, and then leave one of the forwards up top.
I
Okay,
don't know.
fair.
I'm still very against the idea of playing Pablo Ruiz as a 10 or an attacking player. He suits better playing in that defensive mid. So I would have done a Ruiz Ojeda as a defensive mid. I would have wanted to see
Yeah.
Lockie finally get that start. And then PQ is not the guy for me that should be getting a start. Like Hidalgo needs to be getting a start because we'll get to it in a second, but a 6'5" guy should not be getting out jumped by somebody who's 5'6" on a good day. So he's a baby draft who's slow as all get out and doesn't have a good reaction time.
Yeah, I think again we're going back to the beginning what we said how we flip flop on our opinions. I think that's a flip flop because
Yeah.
we PQ'd last season like hard. We're like PQ it right back. That's where it's at.
Except for that one crucial moment, I actually thought that Quentin did a pretty good job as a right back.
Um, I'm looking at this formation. I almost think that it might be a 4-3-3 esque. Where you
With
shift where
with
you shift Diogo up top and you leave the line of
Hmm.
three defensive midfielders as your midfield. um, it almost seemed like a 4-3-3. Granted, I know 4-4-2, but I think the one issue that I have, and it's the biggest issue. In fact, I'd be fine with this lineup except for this. We started our only two forwards that we had available. Why would you start your only two forwards in this game? Because my train of thought is this: they get tired. Who are you replacing them with,
Kobe Henry.
bro? Let's talk about that real quick. By the way, shout out to the question. It's one of our Instagram questions, right, Marcos?
it is.
So,
Um, so Pablo was asked this in the press conference. Why was the reason for taking out Iago, bringing in Kobe Henry? Reason behind that, Iago was gassed 70th minute. Yes, that makes sense. Player was gassed. He wasn't playing up to it. But Kobe Henry, really, the dude, I don't know if he's ever played striker in his life. He's a he's a defenseman. So if you look at the players, the options on the bench, Griffin Dillon, he would have been an excellent player to use. Came up from the Monarchs, and funny enough, the very next day for the Monarchs, he scored a goal for them against Colorado Rapids too. So
I mean, you're not wrong. But I think that that's where my frustration lies right now with this formation and the excuse that Pablo gave of he didn't have anyone else. I don't buy it. And I know
Yeah.
we're probably talking a little too much about this lineup, but I just it doesn't make sense to me. I saw it and I was like, no, that's wrong.
Honestly, it could have been a gut reaction out of Pablo because he's like, "Oh crap, Emeka's out. Now what do we do? I guess we'll do this. And we'll go with it." And honestly, I'm gonna agree with Pablo Mastroeni on this. Had the red card not happened, this would have been an effective formation against this Dallas team. But because we lost uh, a player or down a man for the entire game, it didn't come to fruition. Now, anything we say is going to be speculation because we don't know if it absolutely would have worked, but it was working.
Well, I'll stop you there. I don't think it was working. I think the first 20 minutes of the game was kind of just meh. It wasn't RSL on the front foot, and it wasn't Dallas
Yeah.
on the front foot either. It was just a stalemate at that point. The only reason why RSL even got a fire lit underneath them was because they thought it was them against the referee. It was
yeah,
them against the world.
It
prior
felt like
prior
it too.
prior to this red card in the 23rd minute by Peel, no shots. Actually, no shots at all in the first half. There was no ganas. There was no quejonas at all from RSL to want to get on the front foot to get on the board. So it was sad. It was sad right off the get go.
You sounded very white when you said that, by the way. Just
I
saying.
like it. I like it. Keep sounding
Los
white.
los quejones.
Sure, whatever. Um, but that's what I'm getting at is that with without the red card, RSL doesn't change. It would have been a pretty vanilla game. Especially at that. I mean, if up until that point we still didn't have a shot. Obviously down a man, it's going to be a lot harder to get a shot. Um, but do you think the red card was well, I think I'll just throw it out there. I think the red card was necessary for RSL to wake up.
I yes and no
Mhm.
because because yeah, it was definitely a eye-opening experience because after the red card, we still played the exact same. Still played the exact same prior to it. Still no shots. Still nothing at all. But it wasn't until the second half that's when we had that switch of energy.
The Dallas was only on the front foot in the first half, the second part of the first half because we were down a man. I think we are still in shock mode, and I guess let's go into a little bit of that first half. So let's talk about that red card. I bet you a lot of people talked about that red card. Was it for you guys a red card?
No.
I give it maybe yellow, maybe orange, but nowhere near a straight red card.
Give me your reason, because I need to hear your reasoning, because I absolutely disagree.
How
I
many
think
times?
I think it's red.
How how many times have you watched the replay?
Probably about the same as everyone else that watches RSL, like a lot of times. What's your reasoning? Why would you not give a red card? Because at this point, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said the red card is this. This is the situation. The foul was it was our foul. It was
Hmm.
it was going to be our free kick. If the referee calls that 1.5 seconds before, as soon as the guy lets go of Ojeda, boom, nothing happens. All right. So we acknowledge this is a referee mistake.
Yeah,
Now, as soon as he gets called down from VAR saying hold play, we're reviewing for possible red card. When you hear those words, possible red card, um, the human nature in you says, I'm looking for a red card. He puts on his red card filter. All right. And so when he goes to the monitor, he sees red card. All right. What's the criteria for this red card? This one is
Studs out.
studs up. Clearly, Peel could have gone in with the inside of his foot. He could have gone in any other way, except he went in kind of straight leg, stud out. All right. It wasn't forceful. The force came from the kick. All right. But the fact that he exposed it means that he was performing a serious foul play, which is one of the two criterias for a red card: serious foul play or violent conduct. It wasn't violent conduct. Violent conduct is spitting, punching, all that other good stuff. This was serious foul play, whereas he was putting in danger the other player. By letter of the law, it was a red card.
Hmm.
I think I think if he were to give a yellow in that moment, and if he were to have judged the most of the force was behind the kick instead of into the tackle, if he would have given the yellow card in that situation, I think he might have stayed yellow. But since he didn't give any card in that moment, he had to go red.
That's fair.
You make a good point. I guess after watching it so many times, it was hard for Peel, but I guess it was just so fast of reaction times that he had no other option.
Well, I'm putting a lot of this on Peel because if you see that you're one you're at midfield, there's no reason for that kind of tackle. Two, you know that the advantage is going to be played. Just let the ball go. All right, and this goes to his inexperience, his youth, um,
That's fair.
and you could tell that he obviously it wasn't on purpose. He was there was no malicious intent. He hit his face in his jersey as he was leaving the field. I mean, he felt horrible. I mean, what?
You had Lachlan and Javane that helped him off to the locker room. Dude's played less than 15 games professionally, and Pablo today on ESPN 700 said that Peel was absolutely so sad. He apologized to his whole teammates today and said, I'm going to learn from my mistakes moving forward."
Yeah. I do want to make mention though. That was a really long spiel, by the way. But um, I'm I'm not apologizing for this referee because in the referee world we still criticize each other, and for me that was not a good performance by this referee at all.
No.
Um, because then we move on. Um, uh, he had a penalty that was called against RSL. Um,
Penalty definitely was a penalty. Brian Vera was doing Brian Vera things, which he should not have. And
Do you disagree, Alan?
no, no. Can you can you imagine if I disagreed with that? No. I mean, come on, Vera. I mean, what are you gonna? How can you get around that? Especially if you're gonna do it to anyone, why would you do it to Lucho Costa, who's the one of the biggest floppers in the league? I mean,
I'm s I will say I'm so glad he got a yellow for flopping. So
might have been
glad.
one of the only good calls
Oh
in
my
the game.
gosh.
But all right, let's. Speaking of this first half, we're only in the first half. Dang it. Cabral, guys, Cabral.
Oh,
the season's
He
still
is him.
the season's still too early. But I'm saying let's build the man a freaking statue.
Cabral el Cabra. My gosh, say that 5 times fast.
No, no, thank you. Guys, I think well, I want him to be in the running for goalkeeper of the year, if that's even an award.
It
Um,
I'm
is.
s- I'm sorry, McMath, but you've lost your job for good. Like
um, I think this is what it finally. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, both of you, and probably someone else, whoever's listening. I think this is our first foreign goalkeeper.
no.
Name it.
Uh
David Ochoa does not count.
oh
Ochoa
yeah,
does not count.
he's born in America.
He's
He,
American.
he's a yeah. He was born in the United
Well,
States. So
then you're correct. You are correct.
I can't think of a foreign-born um, a goalkeeper we've ever had. We went from DJ Countess to Garlic
Hmm
to
hmm
Raimondo.
Yeah,
Ramondo, and then
Jeff
um,
Jeff Attinella,
Hmm.
Antonella. After who was after flipping Putna?
Putna.
Andrew Putna.
I think Ochoa after that. I don't know. But anyways, we have never had a foreign born goalkeeper, and I think this is what it feels like to have a really good goalkeeper, barring Ramondo.
Oh man, and you could see that he put his experience to the test, being able to
Oh my
read a
gosh.
skilled player like Acosta, and you could tell from watching it up above, you could see Acosta's body language that he was gonna go that direction.
I mean, the dude knows his stuff. So, um, let's I really want to just worship Cabral for another little while, but we have not much time. Um, so then we get to the goal, and Marcos, your biggest complaint is PQ not being able to jump. All right, and there are some people that said, "I bet it was offside."
No,
All right,
no.
um, one, yeah, it wasn't offside. Two, though, here's the thing: I don't think it was PQ not jumping. The angle was a little rough to jump at. All right. The ball is curling towards the back post. And so what he's having to do is like jump backwards and sideways. That's not a vertical jump. That's a sideways. And so you get like maybe 30-40% of your actual height. So hence why a 5'3" guy can beat a 6'5".
I see your point where you're coming from, but this has happened like two or three other times this season where PQ has been out of position and he's been beat. So we can't be blaming on
Well,
the position of the ball.
was he out of position though? I think it's more opposing teams taking advantage of PQ's height against him. Because if you realize that this was perfectly played against a tall defender, had he perfectly played against a tall defender in the box, you don't kick it at his height, you kick it underneath it where a shorter player can get it and head it like Lucho Costa did.
Mm. All I know is that this was a perfect sine, tangent, cosine angles. It worked out. I'm pretty sure someone has the geometry and the trigonometry on it. So just saying, it wasn't because he didn't jump. I think exactly to Christian's point. I think they found him in a perfect spot to where he couldn't jump vertically, and the ball was at such an angle that all Lucho had to do was it was like a weird header too. It wasn't like a
Very.
It
it
was
was
a
like a
flick back.
it was a weird one. Anyways, um, though that score line I think um is just. I think it was
For all that happened during that game, it's wild that it only ended 1-0.
right. Because then the second half comes in, and all of a sudden, the fire that I mentioned, boom, it got lit
Diogo
hard.
took a shot off the bat. Like, Marcos, what was my reaction when Diogo took the shot?
What?
Yeah, no, that the effort that was put into the second half, it's like exactly what Pablo said in the press conference. It's like this is how you guys should have played the whole 90 with 11 players,
Well,
not just the second half.
it's right when we brought in Catranis and when we brought in Lachlan in the 66th minute. There was that.
Lachlan freaking Brook.
He is
Hey,
him.
it was minutes after he came in. He didn't have any fear at all because this was his first MLS game that he's played this season, and he minutes coming in,
Oh
and
yeah.
he takes a shot 20 yards out, and it sails just barely over the crossbar. Oh
He didn't play against San Jose.
no, no, this was his first MLS minutes this season, first time
Bro.
since Herediano.
Um yeah. And there's a couple of things that guys, maybe we should just have an episode of just this game. Because there's also the Junqua Catranis debate. I don't know if you guys have any opinions
Uh,
on that one.
I feel like my opinion's gonna change every game between them because
yeah.
those two are a coin flip. Like Catranis just seems like a bull in a china shop sometimes. Like he's looking for to get fouls.
Can we? I almost wish we could pull um Oh gosh. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up.
Find it.
And pull a Bodie Hidalgo on the left side and put Catranis up front as a winger and put Junqua behind him as the left back.
That sounds like a really interesting thought.
That'd
I've
be,
never thought of that.
huh? Interesting. Interesting.
I like it. I like the thought. I like the idea. I wish it would come to fruition one day, but
It won't.
it won't. But that sounds pretty good. And they can just interchange that. I got you. I pick up what you're throwing down.
Thank you, thank you.
Um, but yeah. So I've heard complaints about Junqua Catranis. Um, Other than that, oh yeah, people were saying Pablo Ruiz was MIA. Hence why I'm not sure that's why he got taken off
Uh,
at halftime. I think it was
I think
because
it
of
was
the head.
concussion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, only possible stitches too. Like they had to bandage that head super fast with all the bleeding.
yeah.
He
So
played well when he was on the field. Disagree with the 5.5 pop mod gave him.
all right, I can see that. And you probably disagree with the 5.9 that they gave Giogo because of the second half.
Yeah, I'd give him like a 6.5 for the game.
Yeah.
Oh, like an 8.4 for Cabral is not cool at all. The dude deserves
No.
like a 9.5.
Well, it's because he let in a goal,
Yeah.
Well, the
clearly.
the funny thing is he got the same rating as the other goalkeeper, 8.4. That's ridiculous.
He did have a good game,
Hmm. All right,
unfortunately.
that's true. All right, guys. Um, I know we don't have a lot of time, but let's kind of transition into this. My biggest complaint with RSL the um with the use of the players in the starting lineup, I think there could have been more youth playing in this game. I talked about it last week, and I talked about it in a tweet that I tweeted out. Um, Here's the thing: you had the Monarchs played um,
Open Cup.
midweek Open Cup. All right. I'm not saying that these players might have been tired or whatever, but if you were looking for someone or some players to replace some missing pieces, or maybe to try, I think
Hmm.
this was the absolute perfect game to try younger players. Granted, we didn't. Gozo and Aiden were not available from the Monarch slash RSL. They went to the U20s, U20s, 17s,
Hmm.
20s, 20s.
20s.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
but
like for the Monarchs, you still had tons of good attacking players. Like I mentioned, you had Griffin Dillon that got called up for RSL. You had Axel Kai. Not saying that he's great, but he would have been an option. You had Omar Marquez, young player. You had Owen Anderson, decent player. Like Pablo has these options on the Monarchs, but he's, I guess, not willing to call these young stars up.
it, from my observation, obviously my observation, I don't see Pablo starting a lot of young academy kids. It almost seems like RSL is willing just to go out and buy young talent instead of develop in-house young talent. I mean, look how long it's taken Bodie to get up to a position where he could have some more minutes. I mean, how old is Bodie now? Bodie,
2023.
23 years old. We've had him we've had him in the academy. He got I don't know if he got minutes when he was 18, 19 years old. I doubt it. But that's what I'm talking about is that we're waiting almost like 2, 3, 4 years too late in order to get them
Well,
going.
Alan, we're running into this issue. We were talking about this. Was it over text or Twitter? One of the two,
Mm.
where I'm going to play devil's advocate here on behalf of Real Salt Lake, where they find themselves in this position where they have great developing players, but also they're getting a lot of pressures from fans specifically to perform immediately and not a trusted process. We've got people up and coming. And that's where my Borussia Dortmund comment came into play, where it's like, RSL, you know, should model what Borussia Dortmund or even what Barcelona did before they mismanaged all their money, where they just brought up fantastic players through their academy, but then bought players on top of that as necessary. I mean, you take a look at, since Borussia Dortmund's consistent, take a look at the Borussia Dortmund formula. They develop phenomenal players Like, not just great players, phenomenal players that they do sell a lot of them off, but they also bring in players as necessary, and they stay very, very competitive in the Bundesliga. Yes, if you're going to take a look at them over the past couple of years, sure, they've kind of fallen off a little bit, but that kind of goes when you've batch out groups of developing players and don't really replace them, and you bring in people that just aren't quite it, and you're still kind of figuring it out.
Right. And I guess maybe this is all based off of my bias with River Plate in Argentina, and I bring this up only because River Plate the past 5-10 years have had so much success with their academy. I'll name off three players that played last night in the Argentina Brazil game. Julian Alvarez. He played started playing first team minutes back in 2018 when he was 18 years old. Um, and he even got minutes in the Copa Libertadores final against Boca and helped win that game. In fact, he had minutes during the whole tournament. He is now one of the most dangerous lethal strikers in the world right now. And I think it was because they started him early. They put him in situations that were high pressure. He ended up scoring, I think, in one Copa Libertadores game, 6 goals. I mean, the kid had what it took. They sold him off to Manchester City, from Manchester City to Atletico Madrid. All right, last night he scored against Brazil. Cool. Next kid, Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez also came from the academy of River Plate. Again, same kind of trajectory. Didn't get as high level games as Julian did, but ended up playing a lot of starting minutes. 18, 19 years old. Um, they moved. They sold him off to Benfica. Benfica to Chelsea.
And
Okay.
now he's doing not great with Chelsea.
Well, no. He picked up again, and so he scored last night. In fact, he was player of the match against Brazil. The last one you guys don't probably know a lot about because he didn't play a lot with River Plate, but it was Giuliano Simeone. Giuliano
Oh yeah.
Simeone
Yep.
came from the River Plate Academy. Um, he went straight over to Atletico Madrid to be with his dad.
Hmm.
So he was in their reserves after going through the River Plate Academy.
You almost said
Um,
RSL.
yeah, I almost said RSL. um, so what I'm getting at is these three players, Julian 25, Enzo I think 24, and Giuliano is 22 years old. They are now making huge impacts on the best national team in the world right now, scoring goals against powerhouses like Brazil.
No
And
Messi, no problem.
no Messi, no problem. But on
Nope.
top of that, they're playing Champions League. They're playing in high leagues right now. These guys are young. Right now, like I said, Bodie Hidalgo came from the RSL Academy. He's 23 years old and he can't get consistent minutes. And yet we keep giving him like a game. We keep flip flopping him. One game playing, one game on the bench. One game playing, one game on the bench. It's like if we're serious about development, let's be
Well,
serious about
it's
development.
like these fans want us to go out and go purchase big name players, but they also want us to work the academy. It's like, make up your mind. What do you guys want? I personally, I want us to see us develop these young players go up through the academy. I want to see Gozo. I want to see Aiden. I want to see Owen Anderson get these playing times because they deserve it because they're doing so well with the Monarchs team.
Yeah,
And you know what the funny thing is with the lack of pro rel, you think they could focus on development
Yeah.
because
with no consequence.
there's no consequence. What happens if you get bottom of the league? Nothing. You become San Jose Earthquakes and stay sucky for 15 years.
Yeah, or the
No,
Rapids.
no offense to either of those teams.
All the offense.
No, we see when
Alan said
Jason
it.
no, when Jason Christ was head coach, he loved throwing in the young guys, the academy players. We saw Sebastian Velasquez, who was such a young player, Luis Gil, who was such a young player, all of them getting implemented into the starting rotation all the time. With Pablo, it's here and there, just not as much. Very rare.
It happened like a couple more times this last season in 24, but in 23 0, 22 0,
Mm.
at least from my knowledge. I bet you someone like Trey is going to throw out some kind of stats bum bum bum. Well, guess what? These guys played. Guess what? It didn't lead to anything. That's what I'm getting at is that you can play one I mean, Gozo played and Axel Kai played one game for
Yeah, against
15 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that.
LA Galaxy on the road. Yep.
Yeah. After that, Gozo finally got some minutes. I think, did he get some minutes against Herediano?
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. Axel Kai fell off, personal reasons. But you have all these other great players that should be getting more minutes. But again, that's just my style. It's probably not the RSL style right now. I don't know, guys. There we go. That was my rant. I apologize. That was a long rant.
No need
I've,
to apologize.
I've been ranting a lot today. I told you guys. I
But
I, I
but
love
hey,
one.
we're talking about developing and players that come up in development. What about Luna with the U.S. men's national team?
Yeah,
That's
like
that's true.
the same thing happened for him. He was over in New Mexico. Everybody thought he was like, he's just going to be a USL player. That's where he belongs. But over time, he showed. He's like, prove the haters wrong.
Well,
That's a great transition.
yeah, thank you. But take a look at how he performed. Like, obviously, U.S. men's national team, I think, kind of jinxed themselves with Pochettino. Now, okay, one thing I'll say about Pochettino, I absolutely love his mindset. Absolutely love his mindset. That is the mindset I want out of any coach. You're coming into a competition. What's your goal? We're going to win the whole thing. That has to be your mentality. So one of the core memory for me from the 2010 World Cup was Jurgen Klinsmann and had an interview right before the tournament started, and it was with a bunch of the press, and they were going, "So, what are your expectations for the tournament? What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to see?" And one reporter asked, "How far do you expect to get into this tournament? Like, what are your goals for the tournament?" And this stuck out to me because it bugged me so much. He goes, and Jurgen Klinsmann, "Well, yeah, well, I think for us, the quarterfinals would be a good result. We want to get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. That would be a successful World Cup for us." And I remember watching that. I'm like, that's your goal in the World Cup. You're satisfied with the quarterfinals? Are you kidding me? Now, realistic, sure. But I don't give a crap about realism when it comes to large competitions like this.
All right.
I want the disillusion. I want the hey, we're here at the World Cup. Why don't we win? Why can't we go out and win the whole thing? I don't care if you're the United States, Argentina, um, Guinea, right? Sri Lanka, any there's gonna be 48 countries at this next World Cup. Those
Almost
those
half the
countries,
world.
almost half the world. It's actually close to a quarter of the world,
Yeah, I was gonna say
actually.
quarter. Yeah.
Um, that's a lot of countries that, yes, are there realistic rankings of who's probably going to go further? Sure. But at the beginning of the day, when those brackets start, they're all on equal footing, which means technically, really, if you want to be slightly disillusional about it, any one of them could win. And if you're not going into a tournament like the mentality that Pochettino has, I would still say he has it still, where it's like, why can't we go out and win? Why can't we be the best?
Well,
And I don't want it.
that's a great question because that leads into what what are we thinking after this past week? I mean, they if we're gonna I'm gonna call it this. We got last place. Um, that's not funny, and that's not something to be. I'm not gonna be illusioned by anything.
No.
Um, for me, seeing the performance that was done by the U.S. national team was absolutely despicable. The it's already been said multiple times, so I'm probably just echoing words at this point. But this golden generation is more like I wouldn't call them
They,
gold. It was like poop brown.
I was gonna say they're the poopy generation.
They're not the poopy generation. I think you're giving them a little too much crap, but I think
Ah,
the
that's funny.
nah, I I think a lot of the hype has worn off.
It's
But
it's just it's sad with these players like Weah, Pulisic, McKinney, Adams that they only put that effort towards their club. They don't have that same mentality, that fight, that drive when they play for Team USA when they put on that kit.
granted,
Whereas,
they'll tell you that they do.
well, yes, but
Actions speak louder than words.
it's facts. It's facts. But you see in that second leg when they played against Canada, the only player that had that fight, that drive, that willing to win that full 90, Diego Luna. And it was absolutely sad because that was his first time ever getting that start for the senior team.
I have my thoughts and theories, but yeah, Diego Luna was lights out. I mean, he had obviously he had the assist and his play was just one of he wanted to represent really well his country. Um, and he's one of our dual nationals that chose to play for the United States instead of playing for Mexico, for
I
example.
still
He
think that's a better choice.
playing for the US.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I think so, only because I think it's
The,
too political in the
well,
Mexican Federation.
and plus, the way that Mexico's playing, I think it would be a little too difficult for Diego Luna to get playing time.
Um, that's we could debate it. We could debate that. We really could. But because there have been obviously rumors flying around of him being wanted by Chivas, being wanted by some other Mexican clubs. But
That would be that would be a career suicide move. I'm sorry. MLS is still and MLS. We've talked about this before. MLS is a better league than Liga MX. Liga MX right now is where careers are going to die.
well,
Poor,
that's where
poor Barajas.
Barajas. See, that's why he came back. Um, but I guess this leads into another quick talking point is we talked about at the beginning of the season that we think that Diego Luna might be leaving in the summer. Then we're like, actually, it could be end of the year, maybe the summer. Um, I'm thinking, here's my thoughts. I don't think he should be leaving MLS before the World Cup.
Agreed.
He needs all the exposure that he can get, and if he leaves, he runs the risk of riding the bench on the new team for quite a while.
But what if, come before this end of this season, Kurt and Jason get a huge offer from somewhere
They
in Europe,
already have.
But
but we're talking an offer 10, 15 mil.
now,
Oh, so
now,
what? He can go disappear at Stade Rennais?
right? Well, that's the point, Marco. So this is where we're getting at. Um, RSL has preached that they will do what's best in the best interest of the player, and the player chooses for the most part.
For sure,
I,
for sure.
I I think that Diego is weighing those options because to Christian's point, he's getting offers. They're
Yeah,
they exist. Whether he wants to take them or not is his decision. And from the sounds of it, RSL has already come out and said they want to try to keep Luna for as long as possible. And I think keeping Luna for as long as possible, um, actually might lead into a conversation of I'm gonna merge it with our other Instagram question, Marco. So I apologize. Beckerman, um, he is an all-time MLSer, never left the league, and yet I think he was probably the most influential defensive midfielder that the U.S. national team ever had in the 2010 decade. I think if they would have allowed Beckerman to cook a little bit more, in that decade, I think we could have won a lot more or been a more powerful team. To be honest, I don't know. And so with that, I think if you keep Luna around for a lot longer, I think he's going to grow into having a lot of confidence of being able to dominate this league.
Well, and some play that I saw conversely on the end, there was a player that I thought he paired up with really, really well with the United States. That those two created more chances than anybody else. Was him and Timothy Weah. They connected really well during that game. They had a lot of good passing between each other. Diego helped set up a lot of good opportunities with them. I mean, Diego with the assist as well. See how excited he was for that assist? He'd
Oh
been
yeah.
put,
oh yeah, he
man.
was more excited than the actual goal scorer, which was really fantastic to see.
Um, but I think he paired up really, really well with Timothy Weah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he actually paired up with a lot of those first teamers. I mean, you had all the first teamers there: McKinney, Adams, Pulisic. They were all there, and I think that's why I'm so disappointed in what happened last week is because we had our starting lineup. We had most of who's supposed to be starting. Um, One player that
Mhm.
I'm I'm kind of more disappointed in, besides Pulisic, is Adams, and I feel like he was MIA. We,
Mm, yeah.
I think Adams has been preached about as being like the guy that has the dog, the fight, the want to just plow people, and people are like, yeah, have did you not see him when he played for Leeds, when he played for Leipzig? He was so great, and I'm like, really? Really? Um, and you just see it disappear. Right now, Tyler Adams is not the same Tyler Adams as from like 4 years ago.
I, I was gonna say, ever since he had that injury, it just hasn't been the same.
I really think that we need a renewal of or a new injection of energy and talent, which is hence Diego Luna. I mean, is I think this is a slap in the face of the U.S. Federation to have him play so well and everyone just absolutely worshiping him right now because of his game against
Mhm.
Canada. Um, Compared to
And I was about to
last
ask,
year.
do you think with this performance against Canada, and I guess with the way Luna's playing, do you think he permanently booked his spot on the senior national team moving forward?
Oh, that's a great question.
I'm not saying as a starter, but just on the team alone.
I think it should. They would be silly not to have a playmaker like Diego Luna on the team.
Because
And
I think from what Pochettino saw the first time when he broke his nose, I think that was the moving thing that booked him his spot.
um,
Because that I know Diego Luna's Mexican, but that's such an Argentine dog move to do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, legit. What's great is that the next games for the U.S. are Gold Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Their next game
Is
is
it Gold Cup?
against well, next game is a friendly against Turkey, June 7th.
Right before.
Right before.
Yeah,
Um,
so they got two friendlies.
so here's the dealio. I'm throwing this back to RSL now. With Luna doing so well, do we lose Luna for Gold Cup, which means
Yes.
a month and a half to 2 months without Luna? How many games is
That
that we possibly will lose him?
that's
Like
about two weeks, 2 3 weeks.
the final is like the first or second weekend of
So yeah,
July. So
you got
we're probably gonna miss him like 4 games.
3 4 games. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I guess we just have to cross our fingers because supposedly there's a few players coming that Kurt and Jason are looking at. So we need to hope that our backups are good enough that they can be good enough to while Diego Luna's gone.
Um, I guess while we're on that topic, Kurt and Jason, Marcos, you heard something on ESPN 700 today. Do you want to let us know?
Yeah, yeah. Pablo talked to Kurt, I guess, this morning, so Wednesday morning, and Kurt told Pablo that the one of the players is going to be announced 4 to 5 days from now. So we'll see if that's actually true. We've seen
E
we've seen rumors like this happen before where nothing's come to fruition, but yeah, 4 to 5 days.
that that sounds pretty solid though, more than just a rumor we see on Reddit, right?
Right. And so if I mean calculations are right, and usually how things are done, maybe Monday, latest Tuesday, we could hear an announcement. Um,
Hopefully in time for next Saturday against LA Galaxy.
For a player introduction, dude.
obviously we're getting a little excited. We're getting a little excited, but it
E.
it could be
Uh,
it. No one knows what player it is, but could we be looking at a DP9 as the announcement in 4 to 5 days? Is this
if
something to get excited about?
Guess we'll talk about it next week.
We will. If there's an announcement, if there's no announcement, that we're going to talk about anyways, because we're going to be like, "Hey, where's our announcement?" Um,
Where's Cristiano Ronaldo? Come on.
Come
I'm
on.
joking. It's not Ronaldo. Did you see how poorly he played?
He missed a PK.
Am I surprised? No.
No.
Um, so guys, for all of you still listening at this point, get excited because something's gonna happen real soon. All right, let's uh let's dig into this Minnesota game to finish off all of this. Stop yawning. We're almost done.
I'm bored with you. I'm joking.
Um,
The mini soda game.
mini soda game. So
The mean,
there is a matchup. It's not really like a real matchup, but there is a matchup that has already happened within the past week between players of these two teams.
yeah, so you had St. Clair, Luna, and you had, I'm drawing a blank on his name. You can help me out.
Nope, I'm not going to help you out because I
Aluwasi, Aluwasi,
sure.
Aluwasi.
The more you say it, I think the more you're going to pronounce it wrong. So, anyways, the biggest one I'm looking at is St. Clair and Luna.
Yep.
Um, only because Luna got the assist that scored on St. Clair. Um, so they're going to meet up again, head to head. But I think RSL fans are still feeling bitter about playoffs last year. I don't know
We
about
should.
yeah,
Yep.
you think so?
We we lost to the Wonderwall, so we need revenge against the Wonderwall.
Eh,
Wonderwall.
well, guess who's coming back to the Wonder Wall? Give me a V. Give me an
V
E.
E
Give me an R.
R.
R
I don't. A.
Give me an
A.
A.
Oh, what does that spell?
Vera. Oh man,
Oh
spelling
man.
is hard on this episode, everybody.
Oh gosh. I am ashamed.
You should be.
Oh man. Um Vera. Um
They
pretty much
love Vera in Minnesota.
yeah, they do. This is gonna be interesting. So I know this isn't a rivalry game. This isn't. But this has some kind of bad blood feel. Does it to you guys?
Gotta have bad blood.
No, that definitely does. There's some key players that RSL needs to be careful of. Yoboa is one of them. Yoboa
Mm.
is a scary guy.
He's my
He had
number
a
one.
he had a brace last week against LA in their draw at home. Another player to keep an eye on is uh Young off the bench, Korean fast striker. He didn't get any playing time last week against LA, but he is a dangerous attacking piece off the bench.
Yeah, we're looking at but do you know what well, I guess Minnesota has scored quite a few goals the past two games in their draws, but they are on a four-game unbeaten streak. Um, and that obviously is a confidence booster. And they, as well as us, are getting some starters back. What do
Correct.
you, what do you,
Yes,
what?
but look who they've played against, and they beat a really bad Montreal 1-0. They beat a decent form San Jose Earthquakes
Man,
1-0. They tied a horrendous Kansas City 3-3, and they tied a horrendous LA Galaxy 2-2.
right. Okay, so then it turns it not into what the results were, but the quality of those
I
results.
quality I think the quality of the results speaks volumes.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, but the what's going for them as well is they're consistently scoring goals, whereas
That's true.
RSL is not.
I
And
mean,
that
this is the first game in five that we haven't scored a goal.
you have a point there. All right, I'll take it. Yes, you're right, Christian. Dad gummit. Uh, um, but I guess let's maybe get into this lineup thing because if we have, I mean, we don't know if Anelli's going to be back yet. We don't know. But let's plan on yes. Anelli's back. We're down a striker. So we have Iago. We have Luna coming back, Dominic coming back. So I can only assume that our front four is going to be Iago up top with Luna, Diogo, however, whichever position you want them in, with Dominic on the right.
Hmm.
Um, Ojeda is a staple, and then Emeka if he's healthy. If he's not
Hmm.
healthy, do you change it up and do you put a Pablo Ruiz in instead of Palacio?
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
Hmm.
I'm looking more for the that holding control midfielder
Yeah, and
who
that's
can
obviously
pass.
that's obviously hoping that he's all cleared of concussion or whatever. But uh, I do want that controller, just like what you were saying, Christian, because um, I think that's something that Pablo Ruiz brings that Palacio doesn't have. I think due to Palacios' young age as well.
Mm.
Now, backline. Have have we been consistent with a backline yet? Or has at least one person changed every single game?
At least one.
One person has changed every game this season, including CONCACAF.
Wait, didn't we go back to back? Didn't we go from
We did.
Seattle to
Mm.
San Diego?
And it imploded at San Diego.
Right. By the way, I don't know how much you guys like patterns. I love patterns. Not that I'm OCD or anything, but if the pattern runs true, this has to be a win.
Oh, yes.
It has to be. We're on a lose, win, lose, win, lose, win.
Hmm.
We should try to see how long we can go without tying a game.
We're one of only five teams in the Western Conference that has not drawn a game yet.
And the others are all above us.
I
Yep.
I failed to mention this, but the games from last week, no home Western Conference team won at all.
This is a
What?
rough week for the West.
Holy crap.
Ugh.
I
Yeah,
mean, if we're looking at everything here, only four teams from the West won last week.
yeah.
Whoa.
No home Western Conference team got 3 points last week.
Are you sure? Wasn't Austin at home?
Okay, fine.
Aha! I win. You see, I this is what I live for, proving people wrong. All right. So, um, besides the Yaboa, do they have anyone else we have to really worry about?
Pereira.
Oh, but all right. Well, guess what? The keys to this game is control the midfield, get it out to our wings, and
Score a goal.
and score goals.
Yeah, Minnesota does play a back five, so they're kind of parking it back
They're
there.
they're still playing the back five.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember at the end of this last season, I was complaining about the back five because that's all they ever played, and I thought they would change.
It
they're,
works.
yeah,
If it ain't broke.
Well, that's what Pablo thought between game two and game three. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it broke. So, all right. With that, prediction time. All right. That's great. Let's let's do it. Marcos, let's have you go first.
we got all of our starters. We got everybody back from international duty, and I feel confident RSL is going to get our first win at Allianz Field, first time since 2021. So give me a 1-0 victory for RSL.
That's bold. That's bold.
That is very bold.
Christian, are you that bold?
No, I'm gonna go with a little bit more conservative. I think that we will get points against Minnesota, but I think we're going to split them. It's gonna be a 1-1 draw.
All right. Well, I'm tired of being disillusioned, so I'm going to be the negative Nancy here. We're still not going to have our whole backline figured out. Cabral is a beast, but even then, some things will just get by him. And I think this is going to be a 2-1 loss for RSL, just because we're having everyone back, but I need to feel confident again in this team, and I would love for them to prove me wrong. So, guys, this is a another great
Hmm.
episode. Slap hands for everyone. Slap hands, everyone. I don't know. Dude, stop. Also, we're just gonna throw this little plug in here. I think Argentina is gonna go win the World Cup again.
Ooh.
You know,
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I had money on India.
India? What the heck? Um, no, I honestly think also another plug. I think the finalissima in is it this year? The
It
finalissima? It is.
it is this year.
That's going to be the game of the decade of the century.
You
If
think so?
Argentina, Spain, Spain's coming off
Hmm.
a lot
We
of
got
confidence right now with young players.
Messi
Argentina
Messi against Yamal.
Argentina's coming with not just a couple of veterans, but they're also coming hot with some youth as well. I think that's going to be the game to watch this summer. by the way.
That'll be a fun one.
All right.
Also, big MLS game this weekend besides RSL, Minnesota, Miami,
Miami, Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Miami,
We
Philly?
got Miami's
Eh,
red hot. Miami didn't play last week, so they're well rested.
That's first versus third in the East. That's
Hmm.
pretty big.
I want to say they have some kind of bad blood too, but then again, lately I think their bad blood for Messi is everywhere. But I don't think he's gonna play.
Hmm.
I think he's injured. But heck, do I know? All right, guys, that was great. Let's. Any last thoughts? No.
Enjoy the weather, guys, this weekend. It's
Is it really supposed
before
to be that good?
before it starts raining. Enjoy the nice spring weather before it gets bad this weekend.
I mean, Saturday's looking like it's gonna rain in the morning.
Oh, shut up! I have to coach a game and do all that mumbo jumbo. Oh, it is. Why? All right. Anyways.
Well, you see, there's this little thing called high pressure and low pressure when it comes to air, and it
All right.
moves moisture around.
Stop it.
And
You're done. All right. Margos, send us off.
If you guys are not already, make sure you head over to Twitter, follow us at the RSL Bros, along with Instagram as well, and catch us wherever you catch your podcast on Spotify or Apple, and watch us right here on YouTube.
Nailed it. All right, guys.
And make sure you guys follow us. Got a giveaway coming this weekend, so
Oh
stay
yeah,
tuned.
give away, give away, give away.
you, you nailed it. Perfect. Do that. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Ciao. Where's the stop?